Well, before we get on to today's episode, you would have probably noticed that there was something critically missing from the first episode of us reviewing D4DJ All mix. I say, do you know what that was? Because I sure don't.
Yes, of it, the bingo board.
Oh yes, the bingo board. I forgot about that. Although, how did I forget about it if I updated it? So yeah, what you're currently seeing now is the old one, which is obsolete. So yeah, go get that out of here, and we'll get in the new one, which should be appearing now, if not already appeared as I yeeted it. So the new board may or may not be up. If it is, we'll mark out the changes.
Cool.
Hopefully, note to editing.
Yeah. All right, let's get into episode 2.
Yeah, let's get into it. Which would be episode 2, Feb, camera, live, action.
You've got mail.
So James, take it away from here because I want to see you start off and see your thoughts of the episode before I open my trap.
So overall, I thought it was a pretty nice sort of I guess it's more of a sort of slice of life episode. It did a pretty good explanation of I guess the not so glamorous side of being an artist. You're not always working on music or the live performance and practicing for all that sort of stuff. There is so much more that goes involved into the marketing and promotion side of all of that stuff.
That would be more up your alley because I kind of didn't really get that point. It's
yeah.
Although I guess I sort of got it, but I wouldn't have worded it like you did.
Yeah.
Although I'd say the episode's definitely a lot more comedic.
For sure. Yeah, it definitely takes that, I guess, it's a bit of a slower episode.
Definitely compared to the first.
Yeah, absolutely. So a massive contrast between episode 1 and episode 2 so far. Initially, I wasn't really sure where the episode was going, but sort of about halfway through, I realized, that's sort of the point that it's trying to make.
Yeah,
is that it's really just focusing on all the other things that are involved in the creative profession in general. The other sort of thought that I had is it sort of links to the videos that pop up on YouTube of how various units sort of do the vlogging episodes, things like that.
That was kind of fun.
That was sort of
although it does kind of show how easy it is to kind of get tunnel vision and not see the bigger picture, like you can see with Mayu, to start being how's this not working?
Yeah. And that sort of that comparison of how all the people on the committee, all old people that have no idea of how to use the internet.
Yeah. I'll say Exhibit A.
Yeah, it did a pretty
like my first one was this is something straight out the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, and it was a pretty extreme version of it. I wouldn't think that most people on that sort of committee probably wouldn't go straight for that crazy pop-up style HTML website sort of thing. But I do get the point that they were trying to make, that
I guess the community's sort of out of touch.
Yeah, they're out of touch.
Out of touch. Got to do it. I had to try and stop myself, but I couldn't.
And
although Hall & Oates are pretty good.
I do like a bit of Hall & Oates. But yeah, So I think overall it was pretty good. Definitely wasn't what I was expecting for episode 2 after the very fast pacing and everything from episode 1.
I don't think this episode would have been as good if it had a similar pace as episode 1.
Yeah, I think after episode 1 being so quick to sort of throw the idea together and get it out, I think it was definitely a nice touch for everything to slow down for a bit.
Definitely.
And definitely harkens back to certain episodes in First Mix where like the one where the whole episode is about them, studying for an exam.
Actually, I think that's probably, I want to say my most favorite episode, but up there with my favorite episode of First Mix.
Yeah. So yeah, had that same sort of feel. So it's nice to see that, they're not just going to be sort of like constantly making songs for the performances every time, and that's what every episode's going to be about. They're going to look at things in different ways. It's cool.
Yeah, which I find neat because I would say it'd be a lot of hassle to actually try and make that many songs.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like good quality songs.
Yeah.
And not only songs, but like the performancing to go along with it, the dance moves, the VJ, aesthetics as well, all the lighting. Like it's such a big project for each unit to have a new song every month. And for every one of those songs to be really good as well. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Although, I guess one more question that I do have is, which do you prefer more, episode 1 or episode 2 of All Mix?
That's a good question.
Because for me, I'm going to give my answer here straight out the bat to give you a bit of time to think. But I kind of can't put one above the other. They're both really good in my opinion. But I think I could just be biased. I'm just going to be out there with it. I'm probably going to be extremely positive towards the series.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, I at the end of episode 1 review, I was kind of left with a lot more questions of like how the series is going to play out. And how they're going to be able to fill out, the content for 12 separate episodes, where I think at the end of this one, I'm not sort of left with those looming questions. So I think, to be honest, episode 2 is probably a little bit ahead so far. Again, I think, they just were trying to put so much content and information into episode 1 that some of those finer details were much easily lost. So yeah, I think episode 2 so far leading for me.
Yeah. Give me a second here. I'm gonna
so
die a little.
For you, where what are your thoughts on episode 2? Yeah.
I definitely find it a lot more comedic than the first episode, but I guess that's because the second episode has a little more room to breathe.
Yep.
Which is, I guess, both a good thing and a bad thing. As you said, it's kind of is a bit jarring going from the first pace of the first episode to the much slower one.
Yeah.
But I think they handled it pretty well considering how jarring such a change would be.
For sure. Yeah. It's almost like, I feel it's almost necessary to have a much slower episode after that, the fast pace of episode 1.
Yeah, I don't think it would work if they just kept going at that pace.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. Obviously, there wasn't a new song featured in this episode from any of the units.
Although a classic of Rondo's does make an appearance, but I think almost anything that Rondo brings out is an instant classic.
So, are you disappointed that there wasn't any new songs featured in this episode?
No, not really, because they did, again, put in one of my favorite Rondo songs in, so I guess it does make up for that.
Yeah, okay. Cool. That makes sense. So yeah, we still got that sort of you know, like obviously they have a pretty strong formula how every episode usually ends off with a performance, but I guess yeah, we got that sort of thing halfway through, and the fact that we haven't really seen much of Rondo performing.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I guess that was a nice way of
Like both Rondo and Mem4ID did get a whole like OVA dedicated to performing, but that was a joint performance.
yeah. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Well, they actually, I want to pick your brain a bit about the performance, well, the practice that Rondo was doing for, and that.
Yeah.
Because to me, I'm kind of a bit sus with Nagisa playing the guitar.
Right.
So it doesn't feel like the way she's playing the guitar actually really links up with the music.
That's a pretty common thing in not just anime, but all animated like shows and movies where there's great there's some great YouTube videos out there that talk about that exact thing where like there'll be a scene of an animated character playing the drums and they're like hitting the snare drum when it should be a cymbal or something like that. So yeah, it's pretty common for the animators not to actually animate what the characters should be playing.
Although I guess it'd be a lot of hassle to do that though.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So it makes sense.
Mocap would help with that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely would. Obviously, that's a little bit more work.
I'm a big fan. I'm just going to admit it now. I'm a big fan of motion capture.
Yeah, so am I. There is one exception where the animators actually did take the time to make sure that like things lined up properly. There's a show which did it. It's called Metalocalypse.
That actually sounds pretty metal.
Yeah, so it basically follows like this band that's meant to be the greatest band on Earth who's ever lived, and their fans are crazy, rabid people that'll do anything that the band asks them.
Let's say it sounds a lot like Stans.
But yeah, like the whole idea is that the whole show revolves around music, very similar to D4DJ,
and probably many other things similar to D4DJ.
Yeah.
I was say Brain Dream, but I actually haven't got around to watching that yet, and may or may not.
Right.
Even though it is by the same company that brings you D4DJ.
Right. But yeah, they always definitely took the time to make sure that like the animations fit how the musicians would actually be playing the music. Not 100%, but definitely much closer than a lot of other animators do.
Although, speaking of Nagisa, playing the guitar, she's just having the time of her life.
Yeah. I think that's more the way to go about it, is to show the energy of like how the performance would be, rather than the actual technical.
Although Nagisa does have the tendency to go a little overboard on his solos and that.
Right.
Like like I think it was one of the event stories from D4DJ where it's like, I think actually it's one of the D4 Fest stories, so I guess spoilers for that.
Right.
Where I think it was one of the final few stories where they did these things like, the performances are, there's one last set of performances, but they would take members from each unit and team them up with members of other units.
Oh, okay.
And poor Shinobu ended up getting stuck with Nagisa, and Shinobu's specific like, Nagisa, can you not go ape shit? And the performance going all fine in that, and then it's Nagisa's bit, and she just goes absolutely ballistic on the guitar.
Right. Funny.
And I think the show in that scene does show a good job of how Nagisa really likes to go nuts when it comes to her part.
Fair enough. That's cool. So
just kind of funny, especially when you specifically tell someone, hey, don't go nuts, but you still end up going nuts anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I find that amusing. Okay, so before we go over to the bingo board, let's to have a quick talk about this one scene that I really love about one of my best girls, which is kind of weird saying it that way because usually you have one, but I can't help myself in D4DJ. I think I have like two.
Fair enough.
It's
So
like I couldn't choose one or the other, so I was like, can it be? It can't be that bad to have both or something like that. What's the saying? Isn't it bad to want both?
I'm not sure. I can't think of a particular saying. What's the scene?
It's the one of the shrine scenes. Well, the shrine scene where Photomated are eating the food and that, and Toa-san's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna lick the plate," and I just find it cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was sort of like a puppy
Yeah.
with the tongue out. It was funny.
Yeah, I find it adorable, and yeah, I think in recent years, Toa's definitely become one of my most liked characters.
Right.
Although she's still in contention with both Maho and Shinobi.
Yeah. Fair enough. Cool.
And also kind of sort of breaks the trend of like, yeah, me really liking not VJs, the DJs.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
Although my track record with liking VJs is a bit hit or miss.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
Although
any other?
Saki's as adorable as ever. Well, we'll get that out of the way as well.
Yeah. Cool. Any other standout scenes for you?
It have to also be the I guess go back to Unhappy Around It. We're recording their bit for the short film.
Yep.
That scene between Rinku and Mooney is like, yes.
Yeah, I still don't understand what happened there. Was it something to do with like not wanting to like share food, share germs? I didn't quite.
Huh.
Went a bit over my head, that scene.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess. Well, you should kind of understand really from watching First Mix, because you never did a really good job of watching First Mix them. Because if you understand how Mooney behaved around Rinku as well as the feelings Mooney had for Rinku and that, you could kind of understand why the scene played out like it did.
Right. Yeah, still over my head, to be honest.
I'd say that I think there's no helping you at this point.
Yeah. Like it was definitely a funny, good comedic moment. But yeah, I was still just trying to figure out.
Also,
why.
that scene when Rinku grabs Sabatine and it's like, yeah, that was also hilarious.
Yeah, that was and very, very classically.
Yeah,
Rinku for sure.
Yeah, she's like really keen.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I like about Rinku.
Yeah, it's sort of no. Not that there's no filter, but yeah, very impulsive.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, for sure.
So, now with the review out of the way, let's look at the bingo board. And, we're going to have to start off covering the stuff that was, needed to be ticked off to episode 1, like Piki Piki's first live performance for the season, even though we have it as of the season, so we could have worded it better.
Yep. Also for episode 1, we've got Lyrical Lily being the main focus. Definitely tick that one off.
And a collaboration between all units, although I think we give them that one as well.
For sure. How about beach scene? Because we kind of did get it.
A photo shoot, but that's like out in the resort, and I don't think there's any beach nearby because you get a better view of the resort in the OVA.
Right.
I want to pull up the OVA real quick just to double check. So we don't get anyone complaining like, oh, no, that's not it. It's actually a...
Yeah, for sure.
They're wearing beach attire, so I guess we could on a technicality.
I'm thinking that one counts, to be honest.
Yes, I got my phone mute, sweet. Give me 2 seconds to pull up the OVA. I'd say the jury's still out on that one.
Fair enough.
For me, I'm not willing to call it.
All right.
So I guess we'll leave that one up to... Should we leave it up to a poll?
I guess so.
Although I guess we're going to have to shorten up that gap.
Yeah, we'll put an edit in there.
Although, did we miss one?
More technical stuff. I mean,
Oh yeah, that's episode 2 because you kind of see more the technical behind the scenes stuff.
yeah, I mean, you definitely see some in episode 1 as well. It's like when it comes to networking and putting on an event, all that sort of pre-production planning.
I guess that does fall under technical stuff.
Yeah. So I definitely think episode 1 has it as well. And then,
Although I guess I say that, but at the same time, I don't kind of view that stuff as the technical stuff. I think that for me, the actual technical stuff is the actual production.
yeah,
That's just my definitions. Which
Yeah,
are
yeah.
a bit different than yours.
yeah.
I like how the mic audio is going to be garbage throughout because I keep adjusting my mic.
But definitely episode 2, you definitely see
So we're going to have to edit that out.
the technical stuff of vlogging and creating sort of video content. So I definitely think we can tick that one
This
off
is definitely a solid tick off for episode 2.
for sure. The only other one that obviously we're not going to tick off, but I think we should mention Michiru.
Yes. The worst thing to be I'll say probably the worst thing since which I think is a little extreme, don't you think?
That's your opinion, and that's fine to have. But I mean, you sort of called it that, Michiru would feature, obviously.
Just not in the way I wanted it to.
No. So
And yet we didn't bother to fix up her name.
no, we didn't.
And nor will we.
Mm-hmm. But in seriousness, I thought that was an interesting way of putting that character in, and how like they sort of again used use it as a way of showing, the community, and I guess that sort of harkens back to the whole idea of connection of the show. Again, those connections and how you can use those connections to get information of how to do things better and how to collaborate that way. I thought that was kind of cool.
Although one thing we did forget to think off, Rinku being Rinku.
Which
Well, I guess isn't that one sort of a freebie?
I think so. I think we definitely saw that in episode 1 as well. Obviously with the shells, passing out shells to everyone.
Could I stop dying for a minute?
But yeah, I think,
swear every time we go to record it, I end up, dying. Either slightly or a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Although I guess aren't we all slowly dying anyway?
Yes, that is life. But yeah, I think that one's that one's definitely, as you said, a freebie. That was gonna happen for sure. Cool.
So that leaves how that ticks off. So that's in total. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But no bingo yet.
No yet. Cool.
Although wouldn't it be close? I'm just trying to do the mental gymnastics. No, not even close.
No yet. Cool. All right.
I guess we got to I guess he's gonna have to wait for episode 3 to
Yeah.
come out.
So we'll finish this one up here.
Although it's gonna be a lot harder to do these than I was expecting, because I was hoping that the episodes would come out fortnightly, but no, Bushlight was like, no, stuff you. We're gonna bring it out weekly.
Yeah, it's interesting. Speaking of episode 3, what are you hoping to see possibly featured in the next
At this
one?
point, I'm not quite sure. Anything could happen.
Yeah, that's my same thought.
And that's what's got me so excited, because there's so many different avenues that they can go down.
For sure.
But if you had to guess, if there's one thing to happen, what would you think happens?
In episode 3 specifically?
Yeah. I'm going to take one from the bingo board. Michiru dies of a horrific car crash. If that doesn't happen, it's bound to happen.
I think it's very unlikely.
I always like taking the long shots.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I really don't know. I think here's a question: who do you think is going to be the main sort of focus of the next episode? Because sort of Peaky was the first performer of number 1, episode 1.
So you're saying who's going to probably perform next?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say Happy Round it'd either be Happy Round or Photon Maiden.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably Happy Around.
Oh wait, I got to correct myself. Happy Rondo.
But yeah, that's who I'm thinking as well. I have a feeling that's the way it's going to go.
Although if I actually has a more accurate guess, I'd like to see actually even one of the members of Call of Artemis to show up.
Yeah.
Which I guess already happened with Ari at the Vinyl Cafe.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see.
It'd be nice to see Shanno, even though Shanno should have made an appearance in episode 1 but didn't.
Right.
Because she's the one in charge of Photon Maiden.
Oh, okay. Yep. Right. I getcha. Interesting.
So I guess the more you know.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
I guess I wouldn't be surprised for anyone watching this though, because they most likely are more familiar with D4DJ than you are.
For sure.
Although there's also a good chance that someone who's never seen D4DJ before who's watching this, and if so, hi, hopefully you're enjoying this episode. And 2, why haven't you watched D4DJ yet? And 3, why haven't you watched D4DJ yet?
Good question. All right, well,
it's one of life's greatest mysteries.
Finish this one up here. So thanks for joining us for episode 2 of
the Some People Reviews.
Yep. D4DJ All Mix review series. Let us know your favorite moments of episode 2.
And while you're at it, also episode 1, because we kind of forgot to bring that up.
Yeah.
And also, while you're at it, leave down in the comments which episode was better, episode 1 or episode 2.
For sure. That'd be cool.
And if we do get some comments, we'll actually probably even tally them up and we'll see which one's better that way.
For sure.
That would probably be able to sway my deadlock a little.
All right. Have a look down in the description below for all the links to the social media accounts, and also, very important, our Patreon.
Yay, we finally have that now after being we're Patreon's coming soon. A few months later, haven't even started.
Yeah.
And then we started a few more months later, did a little more, and now, we got it.
Yep, and it's live, so go and check that out. If you can spare the cash, a couple of bucks a month.
Yeah, it's at most probably a couple of dollars a month.
Yeah. So yeah, go and check that out, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah. See you then.